Part 1. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. My sister comes to visit the ancient East China Sea with Sangxiao. Sangxian Island. A beautiful figure flew from the sky on auspicious clouds and landed over Sangxian Island. The woman is 28 years old, her skin is like gelatin, and her shoulders are like shaved off. She is dressed in white clothes that are as white as snow, and her 3,000 green silk hair is like ink. She has a slender waist that can be held in one hand, and her charming eyes are as graceful as silk. Her appearance is the most beautiful in the world, and her figure is graceful and graceful. The blooming flowers on Sangxian Island were eclipsed in front of the woman, the clouds in the sky blushed when they saw the woman. However, the woman's beautiful face was filled with anger at the moment. She didn't know who she was, but she was willing to make such a beautiful woman angry. Senior Sister Yung Xiao, Senior Sister Big Xiao, Senior Sister Kyung Xiao, are you here? The woman shouted loudly to Sangxian Island. Her voice was as clear as spring water and as gentle as an oriole. Just listening to her words could make countless men weak and weak. Swish. After a while, Sangxian Island was seen. 3 graceful figures flew out of the center, their robes fluttering and stopped in front of the woman. These 3 figures are also peerless beauties with stunning looks. One is dignified, graceful, and luxurious, the other is indifferent and elegant, with radiant eyes. One person was unparalleled in beauty and graceful. They were the 3 fairies on Sangxian Island, Yung Xiao, Big Xiao, and Kyung Xiao. When Sangxiao saw the woman's angry look, she couldn't help but show surprise. The eldest sister Yung Xiao asked the woman with concern, Daji junior sister, who dares to make you angry? Kyung Xiao said angrily. How dare you bully our little junior sister? I am so impatient. Little junior sister, tell third senior sister will definitely help you take revenge and beat those who bully you into pig heads. Su. Daji said angrily. I am not the unsatisfactory salty brother I am. Some time ago, I was hard on my master. The master was so annoyed by me that he couldn't help it. He finally relented and agreed to accept my brother as his disciple. I ran back happily to take care of this great good man. After telling him the news, what do you think he said? Without waiting for Sangxiao to guess, she answered herself. He actually refused. He said that practicing cultivation was not as comfortable as fighting cocks and walking dogs. You don't know, I didn't almost explode my lungs. Whoops. Speaking of this, Sudaji couldn't help but breathe faster, and her face became more and more angry. What a rare opportunity. This stinky brother, this lazy brother, has no idea that he is humming for him. Heartbroken. Hearing that Sudaji's brother actually refused to become a disciple of Saint Tongtian, Sangxiao couldn't help but show a shocked expression. You know, this is a saint. I don't know how many peerless powers there are in the prehistoric era, but they all want to become a disciple of the saint. But there was no chance. Some people refused. Is your brother showing off his brain? The fact that the teacher could accept him as his disciple was a blessing that he had earned over tens of thousands of lifetimes, yet he still didn't want to. Kyung Xiao shouted with a dissatisfied look on her face. Yun Xiao and Bai Xiao also had dissatisfaction on their faces. Your brother is too unambitious. How come there are such lazy people in this world? Su. Daji nodded in agreement and said. My brother's cultivation talent is actually very good, but he is too lazy. He only spends his days playing with the flowers and plants in the yard, or going out to fight chickens and walk dogs with his group of friends, listen to plays and bet on money, drink wine and eat meat, and has no fighting spirit. Hearing Sudaji say that his brother's talent in cultivation was good, Sangxiao did not show any doubt, because Sudaji was a peerless genius with a long history. Although Sudaji had only been a disciple of Jijiao for 6 short years, she had already reached the early stage of Daluo Jingxian cultivation. You must know that Bixiao and Qiangxiao's current cultivation levels are only in the early stage of Daluo Jingxian and Yungxiao's middle stage in Daluo Jingxian, but the three of them have been practicing for nearly a million years. Moreover, in these 6 years, Daji not only improved her cultivation to the early stage of Daluo Jingxian, but she also mastered the power of hundreds of laws at the same time. The power of law is a power that only a quasi-sage can master. Daji's cultivation talent directly shocked the entire Jijiao sect, and stunned the leader of Tongtian sect. He called Daji the peerless genius with the fastest cultivation speed since the beginning of the world. Since Daji's talent is so high, her brother's talent shouldn't be too bad either. Sangxiao naturally thought so. After scolding her brother for a while, Daji suddenly asked Sangxiao. The junior sister came to see the 3 senior sisters this time. She actually wanted to ask the 3 senior sisters for a favor. What help? Second sister Bixiao asked curiously. Daji said. Anyway, I have absolutely nothing to do with my salty brother, so I want to ask 3 senior sisters to go with me to Kaoj and help me enlighten my brother's stubborn head. Actually, Daji also had another purpose, which was to get Sangxiao to be her brother's Taoist companion. Because she felt that only by finding a Taoist companion for her brother would he be motivated to practice. But she couldn't tell Sangxiao directly about this yet. Lest Sangxiao refuse outright. Qiangxiao agreed. This is a simple thing, and I just want to see who is so lazy that he is not even willing to become a disciple of a saint. While speaking, Qiangxiao's eyes flashed with cunning, and she looked malicious. Seeing Qiangxiao's evil eyes, Daji worriedly said, "Don't be rough with my brother, he has thin skin and tender flesh. Yeah, my cultivation level is low, so I can't help but hit you." Bixiao comforted Daji softly. "Don't worry, little junior sister, we won't be rude, we will only be affectionate and rational with your brother, so that he can understand the meaning of cultivation." "That's good," Daji breathed a sigh of relief. "Then we will go with you to Brother Chao and help you drive your lazy brother," Yun Xiao said. When Daji saw Sangxiao agreed, she couldn't help but jump up with joy. "That's great. Having 3 senior sisters personally take action will definitely change my brother Xianyu's character." Immediately, Daji and the 4 of them flew away from the 3 immortals' island in auspicious clouds and headed straight towards Brother where the human race gathered. The 4 of them were all Daluo Jingxian. Daluo Jingxian monks could already break the long river of time and the long river of space. They can fiddle with the laws of fate, see through the reincarnation of cause and effect, and cut off the past and future. They can also intercept spiritual energy directly from the time and space stars and continuously replenish their own consumption. Therefore, the speed of the 4 people is extremely fast. In just a few hours, they have crossed hundreds of millions kilometers away from the East China Sea. We came to Kaoj. Daji and Sangxiao ferry stopped in front of a mansion in the south of Kaoj city. There was a huge acacia tree next to the gate of the mansion. The acacia branches were lush and leafy, and they were like flowers. Brocade, its huge canopy shrouds the sky over the mansion like a canopy. Looking at this acacia tree and smelling the refreshing fragrance of flowers, Yungxiao can't help but reveal a hint of surprise. It's already October, and it stands to reason that the locust tree has already lost its leaves and flowers. Why is it that this locust tree is not only blooming with flowers, but also has leaves as green as jade? Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Preparing for Seduction. Daji casually said. The locust tree in our house, as well as the flowers and trees in the yard, are full of flowers all year round, and the leaves are green and never fade. Suck it? Bixiao took 2 deep breaths into the air and said with a shocked look on his face. Why does the scent of locust tree flowers also have a calming effect? Yung Xiao and Kyung Xiao were reminded by Big Xiao and noticed the extraordinary fragrance of the locust tree flowers. They couldn't help but widen their eyes curiously. You know, they have now cultivated to the level of Daluo Jinxian, even the innate spiritual fruit has no effect on them. How can these mortal flowers make them calm? Daji said indifferently. Don't worry about this locust tree. The three senior sisters should think more about how to enlighten my brother Xianyu later. He is not easy to deal with. Hearing this, Sang Xiao immediately put aside her doubts about the locust tree. Kyung Xiao patted her chest confidently and said, "Don't worry, we three sisters are here to take action in person. Why are you afraid that we can't deal with your brother? When the time comes, I will definitely let your brother bid farewell to his current degenerate life, let him understand the meaning of cultivation, and work hard from now on to strive for the top." Daji reminded. Don't be too confident. If there are 10 levels of salted fish, my brother is at level 11. Kyung Xiao raised her head proudly. Humph, even if he is level 12, I can still make him bow under my pomegranate skirt and obey my words. He, is third sister preparing for seduction, Yung Xiao joked. I don't think he can let me use the ultimate killing move, Kyung Xiao said confidently. Squeak. Just as the four of them were talking, the door of the mansion suddenly opened. The sound of the door opening was as distant as if it came from eternity. It seemed to contain the sound of endless avenues, making Sang Xiao involuntarily intoxicated. Just like listening to the sermon of Saint Tongtian. A rickety old man inside the door saw Daji and suddenly showed a kind smile. Miss, you are back. Hearing this voice, Sang Xiao suddenly came back to her senses. Thinking of the abnormality just now, Sang Xiao was shocked and confused. Why did she seem to have entered an epiphany just now? But how is this possible? Daji did not notice Sang Xiao strangely. When she saw the old man, she couldn't help shouting happily. Uncle Yang, is my brother at home? Yang. Hui said respectfully. The young master is fishing in the backyard pond. Su. Daji clapped her hands excitedly and said. Great, the stinky brother was blocked by us. With that said, she dragged Sang Xiao into the mansion. When Yung Xiao passed by Yang Hui, she inadvertently glanced at Yang Hui's eyes, and was suddenly shocked. She found that the other person's eyes were extremely deep, and his pupils were extremely deep. There seemed to be countless galaxies rotating inside, and the vast laws were twinkling in the galaxy like stars. The aura was even more distant and eternal than her teacher Tongtian cult master. However, when she was about to take a closer look, she found that the other person's eyes had become getting muddy and lifeless. Did I just have an illusion? Yung Xiao thought with some doubts. Why are there so many strange things happening today? She walked quickly to Daji and asked in a low voice. Daji, who is that Uncle Yang just now? Daji said casually. He's our housekeeper. It turned out to be just a butler. Yun Xiao felt that he had really had an illusion just now. How could a butler's eyes be more eternal than a teacher's? The area of the mansion is very large. It is built in the style of a quadrangle. There are 9 entrances in total, that is, there are 9 quadrangle courtyards from the outside to the inside. Each entrance is equipped with waterside pavilions, corridors, and courtyards, which makes it particularly magnificent and decorated with carved railings. Painted building. The first courtyard you enter is filled with all kinds of exotic flowers and plants. There are hibiscus, daisies, baby's breath, wintersweet, iris, peony, and so on. This is not a courtyard at all, but a sea of flowers. Among the flowers, the most eye-catching one is the peony plant in the middle. This peony plant has been growing for I don't know how many years. It is as high as the eaves and has 9 different colors of flowers: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink and white. It is extremely delicate and eye-catching. Sang Xiao walked in the sea of flowers, looking at these dazzling flowers. The three of them couldn't help but feel the emotion of one flower, one world, one leaf, one floating life. It seems that these flowers are not flowers, but the whole world, with lasting charm and endless aftertaste. Feeling the charm of the sea of flowers, Yongxiao Daluo Jingxian's cultivation in the middle stage couldn't help but feel a little loose, and there were signs of breakthrough. But at this moment, Kaiang Xiao suddenly shouted, interrupting Yun Xiao's epiphany. "Oh my god, did your brother grow all these flowers?" I saw Kaiang Xiao shouting regardless of her image. It turned out to be 10,000 times more beautiful than the flower gardens of Bio Palace. I found that I had fallen in love with this place. Big Xiao nodded in agreement. Although the flower beds of Bio Palace have been nourished by the innate spiritual energy and the sage's teachings for many years, they are not as beautiful as the flowers in this courtyard, and they are not as fragrant and refreshing as the flowers in this courtyard. Yongxiao's epiphany was interrupted, and she couldn't help but feel extremely regretful. She tried to get back the feeling she had just now, but she couldn't. Yongxiao couldn't help but sigh. "I can't bear to leave either. Daji has become accustomed to it because she has lived here for more than 10 years. She said disapprovingly. "My brother just tinkered with the flowers, birds, and planted some fruit trees to be more active. It would be great if he could put this energy into cultivation." Seeing Sang Xiao's intoxicated appearance, she quickly reminded. "Three senior sisters, you are here to persuade my brother not to lose his ambition by playing with things. How come a sea of flowers makes it impossible for you to walk?" Sang Xiao blushed and quickly followed Daji to the next courtyard. The courtyard behind the sea of flowers was a stone forest. There were all kinds of strange rockery rocks standing there, and there was a small stream winding through the rockery. Winding around. On the highest rockery, there is a waterfall pouring down, which is very spectacular. Some of these rock areas are majestic, some are exquisite, some are beautiful, and some are exquisite. All of them are ingenious and pleasing to the eye. "Hey, have you noticed that this stone looks a bit like chaos black iron?" Suddenly, Big Xiao stopped next to a 10-meter high rockery and shouted with surprise. The second sister must be dazzled. "Why is there chaos black iron here?" Kaiang Xiao smiled disapprovingly. Chaos black iron is a peerless material for refining divine weapons. It can only be found in chaos. It is very precious and rare. Even saints can only meet it but cannot ask for it. How could anyone take chaos black iron to make a rockery? Besides, just a piece of chaos black iron as big as a fist has the weight of 1,000 worlds. This rockery is 10 meters high. If it is really chaos black iron, it would be difficult for Daluo Jingxian to move it. How can ordinary people move it? Put it here to make a rockery. Big Xiao didn't say anything. She stretched out a slender finger, and a purple-white flame suddenly ignited on the fingertip. "Go." Following Big Xiao's instructions, the flames immediately flew to the rockery and burned. What stunned Sang Xiao and Daji was that no matter how the flames burned, the rockery showed no sign of melting. "Is this really chaos black iron?" Kaiang Xiao swallowed her saliva and shouted in shock. Yun Xiao couldn't help but his eyes lit up. "There is no lie. Apart from chaos black iron, I can't think of anything else that can survive the burning of second sister Jushin Luo. Get rich, get rich." How many top-quality spiritual treasures can be refined from such a large piece of chaos black iron? Kaiang Xiao said with saliva, looking like she was a money fan. Big Xiao said to Daji with a heartbroken look on her face. "How can you put chaos black iron here? What if someone steals it?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 Li Yuan, Peony. How can you put chaos black iron here? What if someone steals it? Daji is still in a state of confusion at this moment. I don't know what kind of chaos black iron it is. This broken stone was placed here when I was a child. Kayang Xiao, Big Xiao, Yung Xiao. Suddenly I didn't know what to say. Daji didn't take Chaos Huantai too seriously. She reminded Sang Xiao. The next yard is the pond. 3 senior sisters, it will be up to you later. If you can make my brother stop being salty and practice seriously, I will give you the stone. It's a deal. Sang Xiao immediately agreed in unison. Kayang Xiao's eyes flashed and she said, for the sake of chaos black iron, even if I sacrifice my appearance, I must train your brother well. I think your little hooves are getting old, Yung Xiao joked. How dare you make fun of me, I'll tickle you. Ha ha, itchy. The group of people came to the third courtyard laughing and joking. There is a 1-acre pond in the yard. There is an arch bridge in the middle of the pond. There is a pavilion on the arch bridge. A young man is lazily lying on a wicker chair in the pavilion and fishing. The young man looked to be in his 20s, with icy muscles and jade bones, and was flawless white. His pupils were as dark as jade, and his eyes were as bright as stars. The whole person looks heroic, with jade trees facing the wind, and as beautiful as a crown jade. Behind the man, a young woman squatted and gently fanned him. The woman is extremely graceful, with a slim waist and thin legs. She is sometimes charming and sometimes pure. The appearance and temperament are actually even better than Daji. What's strange is that the women's clothes are completely different from the palace clothes in this world. She wore a black ruffled short dress, a white lace apron, and a white lace headscarf, maid outfit, on her head, which added to her queenly temperament. Somewhat cute and cute. When Daji saw her brother from a distance, she jumped on her little feet, waved and shouted. Brother, brother, your lovely and beautiful sister is back again. This time I also brought 3 senior sisters, all of them are peerless beauties. When Li Yuan saw his sister, a doting expression suddenly appeared on his face. Although Daji was not his biological sister, it made him feel the family affection that he had never felt before. In fact, Li Yuan is not from this world. He was originally an orphan on Earth. In one day, he inexplicably traveled to the world of the gods list. 15 years have passed. Like many time travelers, Li Yuan also has a system. The name is Breakthrough after practicing 10,000 times system. No matter what technique he practices, he only needs to practice it 10,000 times to break through a realm. As a result, it only took 5 years for him to practice from a mere mortal to the highest realm of the Tao, reaching the final end of cultivation. There is no possibility of a breakthrough. Now that his cultivation has reached the end, Li Yuan has no intention of competing for world domination, so he begins to live a life like a salted fish. Every day he is either walking dogs and fighting cocks on Keoj Street, watching movies and betting on money, or he spent his days growing flowers, fishing, eating, drinking and having fun at home. He was living a comfortable life. Fighting for hegemony in the 3 realms was not as attractive to him as a plate of braised pork. Not long after, Daji took the 3 Xiao came to the pavilion. Sister Shayo Daji called out sweetly to the woman who slapped Li Yuan. The lady is back, Shayo greeted with a smile on his face. Sang Xiao was stunned when he saw Shayo's stunning appearance. Daji's appearance was already rare in the world, but Sang Xiao didn't expect that there was a peerless person here who was not inferior to Daji. Beauty. Compared with her, Sang Xiao couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. The key is that this peerless beauty turned out to be Li Yuan's maid. Kayang Xiao suddenly felt that her idea of seduce Li Yuan was a bit ridiculous. Li Yuan the maids were all prettier than herself, how could she seduce him and make him fall under her pomegranate skirt? Kayang Xiao was a little worried. Seeing Li Yuan still lying on the chair, Daji couldn't help but kick her brother lightly. My brother has a guest. Get up quickly to pick him up. Why does this sentence sound weird? Li Yuan complained and stood up helplessly. 3 senior sisters, this is my salty brother Li Yuan. Daji blinked at Sang Xiao. He's pretty handsome. Handsome. So handsome. Sang Xiao's eyes couldn't help but shine when she saw Li Yuan's handsome appearance. They had seen many stunning young talents in the 3 realms, but none of them were as outstanding and handsome as Li Yuan. Handsome. It makes people bathe in the spring breeze. Especially Li Yuan's eyes are as pure and flawless as a baby, without any impurities, which makes people very fond of him. It's a pity that his cultivation is a little bit poor, and he is only in the early stage of the earth immortal. Sang Xiao thought with some regret. Li Yuan has met 3 fairies. When Li Yuan saw Empress Sang Xiao, he did not show any excitement and said hello calmly. My roommate is naughty. She is practicing in Jijiao. Please take care of her. I'm not naughty, Daji wrinkled her nose and immediately retorted. Seeing Li Yuan's gentle conversation and his attitude that was neither humble nor arrogant, Yung Xiao could not help but admire him more and more. She bowed her head to Li Yuan and said. Daji was very sensible, and everyone in Jijiao liked her very much, not to mention taking care of her. Daji couldn't help but feel happy when she saw Sang Xiao talking to her brother. She immediately said. Sister Xiao and I went to the backyard to pick some fruits for our senior sister, and you guys can chat slowly. After saying that, she took the maid Xiao and left the pavilion. Only the 3 sisters Li Yuan and Sang Xiao were left alone. 3 fairies, please sit down, don't be restrained, just treat it as your own home. Li Yuan greeted Sang Xiao with a natural expression. Sang Xiao sat down. Big Xiao suddenly noticed the fan placed by Peony on the stone table, and a look of surprise suddenly appeared on his face. Hey, why does this fan look so much like the master's banana fan? Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Daji Potatoes. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The fan is the ultimate innate spiritual treasure. When Yung Xiao and Kyung Xiao heard this, they immediately looked at the fan on the stone table, with similar expressions of surprise on their faces. They really look alike. Kyung Xiao has a lively personality. She picked up the fan on the stone table and looked at it carefully. The more she looked at it, the more shocked and excited she became. Oh my God, this aura, this pattern, this is really the innate spiritual treasure banana fan. Yung Xiao and Big Xiao quickly came to Kyung Xiao and looked at the fan together. At first glance, the 2 of them were so excited that they could not help but tremble. That's right, this is the innate spiritual treasure, and its restrictions haven't been refined yet. Oh my God, this is still the best innate spiritual treasure, with 46 restrictions, which is more advanced than the master's banana fan. Sang Xiao danced with excitement as she looked at the Fengguo banana fan, and her jade face flushed with excitement. Li Yuan, however, had an indifferent face and just looked at the excited 3 people with a gentle look. To him, the innate spiritual treasure is just an ordinary thing. In his mansion, every plant, every tree, every bowl, every dish, even the rocks and mud, are all inferior to the innate spiritual treasures, but most of them have been sealed by his magic power. Because now he just wants to enjoy the life of an ordinary person. Not willing to attract other people's attention, thus affecting his enjoyment of life. After a while, Sang Xiao recovered from the shock. Seeing the calm look in Li Yuan's eyes, Sang Xiao was not surprised at all. The 3 of them can't help but show a surprised expression. Did you know that this fan is the ultimate innate spiritual treasure? How to use it to fan the maid, Kyung Xiao asked Li Yuan. There was a sad expression on her face. She felt that Li Yuan was wasting his resources. Li Yuan said lightly, the fan is originally used to fan the wind. If you don't use it to fan, why should you give it to someone else? Can't get up. Sang Xiao was immediately choked by Li Yuan's confident tone and could not speak. Can the innate spirit treasure be the same as an ordinary fan? Don't get excited, we have to maintain the image of a lady in front of the handsome guy. Qiang Xiao took a deep breath and said to Li Yuan, reminded. This is an innate spiritual treasure that can turn things around and turn things around. How can ordinary fans compare with it? Li Yuan said nonchalantly. I don't like to fight. In my eyes, it is just a fan to keep cool and repel mosquitoes. 3 nights. They were completely speechless about Li Yuan Xianyu's character. If you use the best innate spiritual treasure as a fan to keep cool and repel mosquitoes, I'm afraid even Sanking will call it a waste if you find out. You have to know how many great powers there are in the prehistoric times, but they don't even have a low-grade innate spiritual treasure. If you can get an innate spiritual treasure, it can't be too valuable. Sang Xiao did not forget the purpose of this visit. In order to enlighten Li Yuan not to lose his mind by playing with things, so that he can concentrate on his cultivation. After what happened with the banana fan, Sang Xiao felt that Li Yuan's salty personality had reached the 11th level, as Daji said, and he had to correct his salty personality immediately. Thinking of this, Big Xiao immediately asked Li Yuan. Listen to Daji, you don't like practicing? Li Yuan looked at Sang Xiao with a smile and pointed directly. Are you the lobbyists invited by that girl Daji? Sang Xiao did not deny it. Big Xiao said. Daji is worried about your brother, you should understand her hard conscience. Li Yuan couldn't help but smile when he heard this. Sang Xiao suddenly felt that the world was eclipsed in front of Li Yuan's smile, and he couldn't help but feel his heartbeat. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, Qiang Xiao screamed in her heart. If only I could keep looking at him like this. Big Xiao looked shy. Calm down, we are goddesses, don't be crazy and make a fool of yourself in front of handsome guys. Young Xiao tried to stay calm. What do you think is the meaning of cultivation? Li Yuan asked Sang Xiao. Sister Sang Xiao tried hard to stay calm and not let herself lose her composure in front of Li Yuan. Young Xiao replied. The meaning of cultivation is of course to transcend the 3 realms, to be free and unrestrained. Li Yuan spread his hands and said. But my life now is already free and carefree. 3 nights. Big Xiao said. But in your early stage of cultivation as an earth immortal, how can you truly be free and at ease? Li Yuan calmly said. In my opinion, there is no difference between earthly immortals and saints. After all, even if you are a saint, don't you have to be bound by the laws of heaven? Seeing Li Yuan comparing earthly immortals with saints, Sang Xiao was ready to refute, but when Li Yuan said that saints are also bound by the laws of heaven, Sang Xiao suddenly didn't know how to refute. Ordinary people don't know, but however, they knew that saints must be bound by the laws of heaven. The leader of Tongtian went to Suandushan just now. It is said that he was in order to comply with the laws of heaven and sign the list of gods together with the other 2 sects. There is some truth in what Li Yuan said. Since the earth immortal can be free and unrestrained, why bother to practice hard? It seems that Li Yuan is not lazy, but has seen through the essence of cultivation early. This is great wisdom. Since there is no difference between earthly immortals and saints, as Daluo, do we still need to practice? Sang Xiao suddenly felt that she had lost the purpose of practicing and lost the fighting spirit of the past. Seeing Sang Xiao lost in thought, Li Yuan couldn't help but chuckle in his heart. If you want to persuade me to practice, you are too naive. I will never be able to practice in this life. He took out 3 fishing rods from his sleeves, handed them to Sang Xiao and said. Don't think so much, come and fish together, it's much more interesting than practicing. Li Yuan's fishing rod is actually the treasure of chaos, capable of fishing all things in the sky, but it was stripped of its spiritual power by Li Yuanyan, so as not to make a fuss again 3 nights later. Why is the hook of this fishing rod straight? Yung Xiao looked at the straight fishhook in confusion. Yes, just enough. How to hang bait? Kayang Xiao asked doubtfully. Li Yuan smiled and said, I am willing to go fishing. Those who wish can fish, haha, are there such stupid fish? Kayang Xiao laughed and said. Yes, there are many more. When Daji returned to the pavilion with the fruit plate, she immediately found Sang Xiao and Li Yuan sitting side by side, each holding a fishing rod, chatting and laughing with each other about fishing. Seeing this, Daji couldn't help but look happy. She felt that her brother had finally come to his senses. It seemed that senior sister Sang Xiao had a good chance of becoming sister-in-law Sang Xiao. Stop fishing, sister Sang Xiao, senior sister, come and eat some fruits, these fruits are very delicious. Daji put the fruit plate on the stone table and greeted Sang Xiao quickly, almost shouting that she was cheating. Sang Xiao saw that there were peaches, grapes, loquats, red apricots, plums, watermelons, and other fruits on the fruit plate. These fruits are as crystal clear and sparkling as gems, and they look alluring. Suddenly, Yung Xiao noticed that something was wrong with Daji's appearance. However, before she could think about it, Daji suddenly took the hands of Yung Xiao, Big Xiao, and Kayang Xiao, and pulled the three of them to a corner. How's it going? Daji asked Sang Xiao quietly. What's going on? Yun Xiao was still thinking about Tao Zi and asked subconsciously. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, Why were you persuaded by your brother? Daji suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. Of course, it is to enlighten my brother, so that he will not lose his mind by playing with things from now on, and concentrate on his cultivation. Big Xiao replied, actually, I think your brother is a man of great wisdom and his ideas make sense. Kayang Xiao and Yun Xiao nodded accordingly. Li Yuan's ideological realm is higher than ours. We don't need to enlighten you at all. What did my brother tell you? The bad premonition in Daji's heart became stronger. Kayang Xiao said. The purpose of our cultivation is to be free and unrestrained. Your brother has already achieved this, so why should he continue to practice hard? Yung Xiao and Big Xiao nodded in agreement. Snapped. Upon hearing this, Daji immediately slapped her forehead in dismay, looked at Sang Xiao with a look of hatred on her face, and said sadly. Three senior sisters, I asked you to enlighten my brother, how come you were persuaded by him instead? Your will is too weak. Sang Xiao's face turned red when he heard this, and he suddenly felt a little sorry for Daji's instructions. Kayang Xiao whispered. But I really think what he said makes sense. Cultivation is hard and boring. Even if you become a saint, you cannot be truly free. Daji interrupted directly. What he said are all fallacies. You must not listen to them and forget everything he said. Let's go back and eat fruit. Sang Xiao was like a primary school student who had done something wrong. He lowered his head and followed Daji back to the pavilion. I remembered. Suddenly, Yung Xiao shouted with excitement. What did your sister remember? Everyone looked at Yun Xiao in confusion. Yun Xiao walked quickly to the pavilion, picked up a peach as big as a baby's head, and shouted excitedly. Don't you think this peach looks very similar to a flat peach? Hey, the dense purple lines look really similar. Kayang Xiao's eyes widened. Bai Xiao asked doubtfully, isn't it true that only the queen mother of Yaokai has flat peaches? Why are there peaches here? Daji said confusedly. Is this a flat peach? Will you admit your mistake? I used to eat it a lot. Besides being delicious, juicy, sweet, and glutinous, it also didn't make me soar like a rosy cloud and live as long as heaven. Hearing Daji say that flat peach has no effect, Yung Xiao couldn't help but become confused. Could it be that I made a mistake and this peach just looks like a flat peach? That's too similar, Kayang Xiao sighed. They have seen real flat peaches. The peach in Yung Xiao's hand is very similar to the best purple striped flat peach, except that the peach has more purple stripes than the flat peach. Brother, is this a flat peach? Daji directly asked Li Yuan for confirmation. Li Yuan shook his head and said, no, how can flat peaches compare with my peaches? This peach is actually formed by the spiritual roots of chaos. It is called the Chaos Divine Peach. It is far more advanced than flat peaches and ginseng fruits. If you eat one, you can live for 1 Hui, which is 1,399,680,000 years. In front of it, flat peaches are just garbage. Just blow it. How could Daji believe her brother when she saw that flat peaches were not as good as her own peaches? She just thought her brother was bragging in front of beautiful women. When Sang Xiao saw this, she didn't believe it either. How could there be a peach more precious than flat peaches in the world? Maybe they just look alike, Yun Xiao said to himself. Seeing that everyone didn't believe it, Li Yuan was speechless. He clearly told the truth, so why didn't he believe it? Click. Yung Xiao took a big bite of the Chaos Divine Peach, and her beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Wow, this peach is so delicious, even more delicious than real flat peaches. Real or fake? Big Xiao and Kyung Xiao doubted. Click, click, Yun Xiao said while eating, you will know after you eat it. Big Xiao and Kyung Xiao took a peach and took a bite. They suddenly felt that the billions of pores in their bodies were relaxing together, and they were in a state of ecstasy, enjoying themselves indescribably. Oh my God, this is the most delicious fruit I have ever eaten in my life. Click, click, so delicious. Big Xiao and Yung Xiao wanted to swallow their tongues together and couldn't stop at all. When Daji saw the three senior sisters looking like they were reincarnated from starvation, she couldn't bear to look at them and covered her eyes. Three senior sisters, please pay attention to the image of the goddess and don't scare my brother away. In a short time, Sang Xiao devoured the bowl-sized chaos peach. After finishing eating, the three of them licked the peach with unsatisfied expressions. Not enough. Still want to eat? After eating this peach, I found that I could never eat any other fruit. But this peach is indeed not a flat peach, it doesn't have much aura. Actually, it's not that the Chaos Divine Peach doesn't have much spiritual energy, but that Li Yuan sealed the spiritual energy of all the chaotic spiritual fruits in the orchard in order to make it easier for his sister to eat. Daji didn't practice before. If Li Yuan didn't seal the spiritual energy in the spiritual fruit, Daji would explode and die if she smelled it, let alone ate it. After Daji cultivated, the spiritual energy of the chaos spirit fruit she had eaten would be slowly absorbed and refined. This is why Daji was able to in 6 years, she reached the early stage of Daluo Jingxian and learned dozens of magical powers. It was not because she was a peerless genius in cultivation, but because she ate too many various chaos spirit fruits. In fact, Daji originally his cultivation talent is very, very poor. Seeing that she still had unfinished thoughts after 3 nights, Daji said. In addition to peaches, you can also try other fruits. The taste is no worse than peaches and has a different texture. Is there any fruit as delicious as this peach in the world? Yun Xiao looked suspicious. Bai Xiao, I think the peach I just ate is already the most delicious fruit in the world. I think so, Kyung Xiao nodded affirmatively. After eating the Dao Wen Shen peach, the three of them feel that all the fruits in the world cannot be compared with the chaos peach. Daji. You will know after you try it. Yun Xiao doubtfully picked up a fist-sized red apricot and took a bite. Click. For a moment, Yun Xiao felt as if all his taste buds had exploded. His whole body was surrounded by the special aroma of red apricots. The juice in his mouth was secreted uncontrollably, as if his tongue was about to melt. Oh my God, I didn't expect this red apricot to be so delicious, Yung Xiao exclaimed with joy like a little girl. Big Xiao and Qiang Xiao couldn't help but salivate when they smelled the fragrance of red apricots, and moved their index fingers. Seeing that Yung Xiao was eating with gusto, they couldn't hold it any longer. Picked up a red apricot and tasted it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Taoist Immortal Apricot, the Power of Law. The moment their lips and teeth touched the red apricot, the two of them immediately felt an aroma that was more refreshing than the nectar of poplar branches. It penetrated the guts and penetrated the liver, making people unable to extricate themselves. Wow, it's really delicious. No worse than peaches. By the way, do you think that this red apricot is a bit like the innate red apricot in the back mountain of Yunzhangzi? Yun Xiao asked the two sisters while eating. After being reminded by her sister, Bai Xiao immediately looked at the red apricot bitten by her, nodded and said, "It's really similar. It's a pity that they just look alike." Qian Xiao said regretfully. It is said that the congenital red apricot only bears 2 fruits every 100,000 years. If you eat one fruit, you will gain a magical power. It is hundreds of times more precious than the flat peach. Yunzhangzi treasures it very much, and outsiders will not even take a look at it. When Daji heard this, she couldn't help but exclaimed, "It's amazing that you can gain magical power by eating a fruit. If I could have an innate red apricot, wouldn't it mean I wouldn't have to practice magical powers?" Li Yun couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw Daji's envious look. The red apricot Sang Xiao was eating is called Dao Wengxian apricot. If you eat one, you can gain the power of a law, which is far more precious than that innate red apricot. Much more. Over the years, Daji has almost vomited from Tao Wengxian apricots. She even envies other people's innate red apricots. She is really a little fool who is sitting on a treasure mountain without knowing it. Next, Sang Xiao seemed to have discovered a new world. They were equally excited and excited. Because they discovered that all the fruits in the fruit plate, whether they were grapes, plum, loquat, jujube or watermelon, all of them are sweet and delicious, making people salivate and have endless aftertaste. The three of them immediately started to feast, and while eating, the three of them were full of praises, without the image of a goddess at all. In fact, after eating for 3 nights all the fruits are not ordinary, but chaos spirit fruits with various effects. For example, grapes are actually chaos spirit fruits, purple jade grapes. After eating, they can increase the spiritual awareness of monks tenfold. Another example is plums, which are actually chaos spirit fruits. It is the chaos spiritual fruit, chi luck plum. After eating it, it can increase the luck of monks. The real name of loquat is white jade loquat. After eating, it can transform the bones of monks into supreme bones, with a strength comparable to that of ancestral witches. However, these chaos spirit fruits had their spiritual power sealed by Li Yuan. Except for the taste, the spiritual power of the chaos spirit fruits could only be slowly absorbed through meditation. That's why Sang Xiao didn't notice anything was wrong. No, in a short time, Sang Xiao had eaten up all the fruits in the fruit plate. When the three of them had finished eating all the fruits, they all looked satisfied and aftertasteful. "Oh my gosh, every fruit in your house is delicious. I really wish I could keep eating like this and never stop." Sang Xiao couldn't help but understand Li Yuan's mentality of not wanting to practice. If they could eat such delicious fruits every day, they wouldn't want to practice. Suddenly, Sang Xiao thought of something that made her blush. Li Yuan had eaten all the fruits by himself. Yuan and Daji haven't tasted either yet. "Sorry, these fruits are so delicious, we didn't expect that we would finish them all." Yun Xiao looked embarrassed. Li Yuan didn't think he was a foodie, right? "Woohoo, you made a fool of yourself in front of a handsome guy? Daji said nonchalantly. It's okay, my brother and I eat it often. Besides, although these fruits bear few fruits, they will grow out in less than 2 days after being picked. Hearing this, Big Xiao couldn't help but sigh and asked Li Yuan. How do you grow your fruits, and why are they more delicious than the fruits in Dongtian paradise? Li Yuan said truthfully. I just took care of it casually and didn't take care of it much. Any kind. Sang Xiao's horns couldn't help but twitch. I believe you, damn. How could you grow any kind of fruit that's more delicious than the paradise of cave heaven? Just seeing Li Yuan's sincere look, it didn't seem like he was lying. Sang Xiao suddenly couldn't figure it out. Li Yuan is indeed just a random one, but the soil is chaos-breathing soil and the trees are chaos spiritual roots. That's it? There is no secret. Yung Xiao sighed. After eating such a delicious fruit, I lose my appetite when I think about other spiritual fruits. Daji, I envy you so much that you can always eat so many delicious fruits. Yang Xiao hugged Daji's arm and rubbed it, with an envious look on her face. Daji said casually. As long as you are my sister-in-law, won't you be able to eat these fruits all the time? When Sang Xiao heard this, her cheeks swished and suddenly became redder than a peach, and her heart beat twice as fast. The three of them lowered their heads in unison, not daring to look into Li Yuan's eyes, looking coy and shy. But there was no anger. Li Yuan looked calm. In order to resolve the embarrassment, he asked Sang Xiao and Daji. It's almost noon. I'm going to eat at a restaurant outside. Do you want to go with me? Although Li Yuan has been able to live without food for a long time, he still retains the habit of eating 3 meals a day. Not to satisfy his hunger, but just to enjoy the food. For him, a life without food is a boring life. Sang Xiao usually they all drank wind dew, inhaled purple energy, and received spiritual energy. Except for occasionally eating some spiritual fruits and nectar, they did not eat any mortal food at all. However, they were a little reluctant to be separated from Li Yuan, so they nodded in agreement. Seeing Sang Xiao's coy look, Daji was both happy and sad. What was happy was that Sang Xiao seemed to have a good impression of her brother, and there was a possibility of her becoming a sister-in-law. What was sad was that she had clearly asked Sang Xiao to enlighten her brother to practice seriously, but now not only was the enlightenment unsuccessful, but Sang Xiao was in danger of falling. Alas, I am so worried about my baby. Let's go. Li Yuan stood up and greeted Sang Xiao. Wait a moment. Big Xiao pointed to the top-quality innate banana fan on the table and said, why don't you put the banana fan away quickly, otherwise it would be a pity if someone steals it. Giggle. When Daji heard this, it was as if she had heard some big joke, and she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Oops, my stomach hurts from laughing so much. What's the use of a broken fan? I'm also afraid that others will steal it, ha ha ha, even if I give it to others, I won't take it. Seeing Daji laughing so hard that she was out of breath, Sang Xiao all looked surprised. Broken fan. Kyan. Xiao looked at Daji in surprise and said doubtfully. Don't you know that this fan is actually a top-quality innate spiritual treasure? When Daji heard this, she couldn't help laughing even harder. Ha ha ha, the best innate spiritual treasure, how is it possible? If it is the best spiritual treasure, why would Shayao use it to swat mosquitoes? It seems you really don't know. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 The Lucky Little Loach. Yung Xiao looked at Daji with extremely serious eyes and said. We're not lying to you. This fan is really a top-quality innate spiritual treasure. If you don't believe it, you'll know after you take it and examine it carefully. Seeing Sang Xiao's serious look, Daji suddenly stopped laughing. She blinked her two big watery eyes in confusion. Is it really the best innate spiritual treasure? Really are, Sang Xiao nodded in unison. How could this fan be the best innate spiritual treasure? I saw that Xiao had 3 or 4 similar fans. Daji murmured to herself, while picking up the banana fan on the table and inspecting it. This one look, she really discovered the extraordinary thing about the banana fan. There were 46 innate Dao seals inside the banana fan, forming 46 innate prohibitions. These prohibitions exuded the spiritual light of the Dao and shone brightly under the exploration of Daji's spiritual consciousness. Oh my god, this is really the best spiritual treasure. Daji opened her mouth wide in surprise. She could fit a duck egg into her small cherry mouth. Sang Xiao didn't make fun of Daji, because their performance just now was not much better than Daji's. Stinky brother, why did you never tell me that this fan is an innate spiritual treasure? Daji wrinkled her nose, put her hands on her hips, pouted a goldfish beaker, and glared at Li Yuan angrily. Although she was angry, she was so cute. Li Yuan said calmly, isn't it just a fan? As for this all the fuss. Daji carefully held the banana fan in her arms and said loudly. Can the innate spiritual treasure be an ordinary fan? I really don't know why you are so big-hearted, even though you know this is an innate spiritual treasure, you don't take it seriously. Sang Xiao nodded in agreement. They also felt that Li Yuan was too ambitious. Li Yuan said helplessly. Don't you want to go to dinner? Are you going yet? If you don't go, I'll go alone. Daji thought that Xiao seemed to have 3 or 4 fans that were the same as hers, and wanted to verify whether the other fans were also innate spiritual treasures. How could she still be in the mood to eat? She waved to Li Yuan and Sang Xiao and said. You go and eat. I suddenly remembered that there is something I haven't done yet. After saying that, without waiting for anyone to reply, she couldn't wait to leave the pavilion with a banana fan. Li Yuan said to Sang Xiao. If she doesn't go, she won't be happy. Let's go. I'll take you to eat hot pot today. What is hot pot? Li Yuan took Sang Xiao to a restaurant for dinner. Not long after the group left, the line on Li Yuan's fishing rod suddenly moved. Immediately afterwards, a golden dragon with 12 claws and 6 wings on its back suddenly emerged from the water of the pond, holding a straight fishhook in its mouth. The 9-clawed golden dragon is the Quasi Sage, and the 12-clawed golden dragon is the Hunyuan Daluo Saint. This turned out to be a Hunyuan Daluo Saint golden dragon. Xiao didn't know when she came to the pavilion. When she saw the 12-clawed golden dragon, her expression was as calm as water, and she was not surprised at all. You little loach are lucky. The master's wine shop is short of a few servants. I didn't expect that you would get this opportunity. The pond is sparkling. If you look closely, you can see that 3,000 lines are rippling and countless galaxies are rotating. After Sudaji left the pavilion, she hurried to Xiao's room and started searching for the fan. After a while, she found 3 fans, purple, yellow and green. The appearance of these 3 fans is exactly the same as the Fengguo banana fan in her hand. They all have banana leaf patterns, but the colors are different. Sudaji quickly used her spiritual consciousness to explore the 3 banana fans she found. Bah! This exploration directly shocked Sudaji's jaw. Mom, these 3 banana fans are all innate treasures. Bang, bang, bang. Sudaji felt her heartbeat suddenly accelerate, her legs were a little weak, and her head was a little confused. She quickly sat down on the table and digested the shock in her heart. Haha. Sudaji took 2 deep breaths. It's okay, Sudaji, isn't it an innate treasure? You will definitely be able to bear it? Oh my god. This is an innate treasure. How can I bear it? I heard that the senior uncle and the second uncle only have 1 innate treasure, and the master does not have 1. There are 3 here. How can my brother have so many innate treasures? Treasure. He even gave peony and placed it casually in the room. It was such a waste. Thinking of this, Sudaji felt the veins in her temples throbbing. This was because of her brother. This stinky brother didn't even tell me that he had an innate treasure. If I hadn't accidentally discovered this secret, he wouldn't have known how long he would have kept it from me. However, why are these 3 banana fans innate treasures, and this red and white banana fan is an innate spiritual treasure? Although there is only one level difference between the supreme treasure and the best innate spiritual treasure, the difference in strength is thousands of miles. Correct. Sudaji suddenly remembered something. This red and white banana fan seems to be from when I was a few years old. I saw a banana leaf on the banana tree in the backyard that was red and white. I thought it looked good, so I asked my brother to pick it off for me to play with. At that time, my brother he seemed to say, "It's a pity, I'm not mature yet." Sudaji's eyes lit up. Could it be that that banana tree is not a mortal thing, but an innate spiritual root? Thinking of this, Sudaji jumped up with excitement. In order to verify her guess, she quickly carried 4 banana fans and went to a forest in the backyard and found the banana tree. There were only 2 banana trees in this tree. The tree was as tall as a person, with a straight trunk, green and delicate. There were a few delicate banana leaves hanging on the tree, which looked as crystal clear as jasper. Sudaji quickly used her spiritual consciousness to explore the banana fan, and she was puzzled to find that this banana leaf there is nothing unusual about the tree. It is just a little greener and prettier than an ordinary banana tree. It does not have the unique immortal aura of the innate spiritual root. Did I guess wrong? Sudaji actually didn't think that the banana tree in her yard would have innate spiritual roots. Suddenly, Sudaji noticed 4 broken marks on the banana tree. Although the marks had become very faint, they were still faintly visible. It can be seen that these 4 broken marks should originally be 4 banana leaves. Moreover, the colors of these 4 marks are red and white, purple black, light yellow and emerald green, which are the same as the 4 banana fans in Sudaji's hand. The color matches exactly. Could this banana fan really be an innate spiritual root? Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Daji Potatoes. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Your secret has been discovered by me. But why doesn't this banana tree have immortal aura? Could it be the fault of the smelly brother? Well, that must be the case. The elder brother must have been worried that his innate spiritual root would be discovered by others and lead to death, so he used some means to hide the immortal aura of the banana tree. The reason why my brother likes to grow flowers and plants must be to take care of this innate spiritual root, and he does it deliberately to prevent others from noticing this banana tree. Sudaji felt that she had discovered the truth of the matter. Stinky brother, your secret has been discovered by me. Thinking of this, Sudaji couldn't help but show a proud expression on her face. However, my brother was too sloppy in doing things. Since he was worried about causing death, how could he give the innate treasure to Shayeo and still keep it aside? What if Shayeo accidentally lost it? But what should I do? Let me help him hide these 3 innate treasures. And this top quality innate spiritual treasure can be used by this lady. It was such a happy decision. Sudaji immediately went to hide the innate treasures happily. Young master, 3 fairies. Li Yuan took the Sangxiao sisters to the gate and saw the housekeeper Yang Huai standing next to a carriage, waiting for everyone. Yang Huai held a birdcage in his hand. An adult squatted at his feet. A tall black hairless dog. For some reason, when Sangxiao saw the hairless dog, she suddenly felt palpitations in her heart, as if there was a peerless ferocious beast squatting in front of them that was as oppressive as ever. But soon, the palpitations disappeared. As if they just had an illusion. Xia He. Li Yuan called out to the hairless dog. Xiao He immediately came to Li Yuan's feet and rubbed Li Yuan's calf flatteringly. In fact, Xiao Hei's body is the chaos alien corpse beast, but the breath it exudes, it can turn a living being into an immortal zombie king. However, it is now more and more like a pet dog. Li Yuan took the birdcage, which contained a fat parrot. "Hello master, hello three ladies," screamed the parrot. "Wow, this parrot is so cute. Haha, I'm just a little too fat and my feet can't even be seen." Sang Xiao looked at the parrot, all showing expressions of love, just like all girls seeing beautiful and cute little animals. In fact, the body of parrot Xiaobai is not a parrot, but a chaotic alien mud kun, which is bigger than Kunpeng. 100 times, one can fly 1 light-year in one day. In addition to the parrot, the 9 horses in front of the carriage also attracted Sang Xiao's attention. These 9 horses were tall, mighty, and physically strong. Compared with the spiritual beasts, dragons and horses must also be extraordinary horses. The 9 horses are all pure white from head to tail, without a trace of color. The white manes are as long as feathers, and when they tremble, they are as dreamy as wings flying. The most important thing is, these 9 horses were all exactly the same in shape, appearance, and color, as if they were carved from the same mold. Sang Xiao couldn't imagine how Li Yuan found 9 horses that were so similar. The 4 of them got on the carriage. First, I smelled a quiet sandalwood incense. This sandalwood seemed to have the effect of calming the mind. Sang Xiao felt that her mood suddenly became peaceful and distant, as if she had fallen into an epiphany, with no distracting thoughts and an empty spirit. Ming. The decoration inside the car is also extremely luxurious, and every object seems to contain some kind of Taoist charm. There are soft blankets on and around the ground, and Sang Xiao steps on the blanket as gently as stepping on clouds. The carriage doesn't seem very big from the outside, but there are 5 chairs inside, and there is a coffee table in the middle, with fruits, snacks, and other tempting snacks and drinks on it. Even if 4 people are sitting inside, there is no trace of, it didn't look crowded. It seemed to have a special feeling. Yung Xiao looked at the decoration inside the carriage and sighed. I think this carriage is even more luxurious than the second master's Kowloon Agar wood chariot. Big Xiao and Kyung Xiao nodded repeatedly. Although the 3 of them were Daluo Jinxian, they couldn't help but secretly smack their lips at Li Yuan's luxurious life. Li Yuan couldn't help but sigh when he saw Yun Xiao comparing Yuan Shi Tianzun's 9-dragon Agar wood chariot with the carriage he drove. Smiling faintly. His carriage is equivalent to a treasure of chaos, how can it compare with the 9 dragons Agar wood chariot of Yuan Shi? Not long after, the carriage stopped in front of a restaurant. The 4 of them got off the carriage. The man was handsome and the woman was stunningly elegant. They immediately attracted the attention of countless people on the street. Happy Forest Club. Kyung Xiao looked at the large gilded characters on the plaque and wondered, what is club, Li? Yuan explained. It is a one-stop service for dining, leisure, and entertainment. This modern name was of course given by Li Yuan. This Happy Forest Club is also Li Yuan's industry. Because in today's world, whether it is food or entertainment, it is very single and cannot meet Li Yuan's needs at all. In order to enjoy various delicacies and enrich his spare time activities, Li Yuan had to open a club of his own and invented various delicacies and entertainment activities to satisfy himself. After the establishment of Happy Forest, with delicacies that transcend time and space and various board and card games, Li Yuan suddenly the dish has attracted countless powerful people. Although the cheapest dish in Happy Forest is equivalent to a year's living expenses of ordinary people in Kaohsiung, it still cannot stop the crazy pursuit of the rich and powerful. Everyone thinks that they can dine in Happy Forest, be proud of it. The various stir-fried dishes, roasted dishes, snacks, drinks, and card games in Happy Forest have also become the talk of the town. If you don't know what stir-fried vegetables are, what braised pork is, what is braised pork, etc. Coke, what is landlord dough, what is mahjong? I'm sorry, you are already behind the times and will be despised. The business of Happy Forest is full every day, and if you come late, there will be no place at all. It happens to be Xiongguo now, and I can only see Happy Forest. There was a long queue outside. These were the officials, gentry, and aristocratic children waiting to enter Happy Forest for dinner. Even the queue could not stop the enthusiasm of these people. The business here is also very good. Qiang Xiao looked at the endless flow of people and was amazed. If the taste is good, the business will be good, Li Yuan said lightly. But there is no empty space inside. Yun Xiao looked at the long queue and frowned. Don't worry, we don't have to queue, Li Yuan comforted. Of course he didn't have to queue. The best private room in Happy Forest was his exclusive room. Just when Li Yuan was about to take Sang Xiao into the restaurant, suddenly there was a noise at the door of the restaurant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 9. Chapter 9, Happy Forest Club. I want to eat now and don't want to wait. Don't give me any rules. Rules don't work for me. Do you know that these two gentlemen, one is the young master of Dr. Fei Zongfei, and this is the young master of Sima Yuhunyuo, you dare to let these two young gentlemen line up? Don't you, Happy Lin, not want to be in court? Did you drive it off? Seeing the excitement, Li Yuan immediately took Sang Xiao to watch the excitement. He didn't care at all, this was his own restaurant. After watching for a while, Li Yuan and Sang Xiao figured out the whole story. It turned out that Fei Ji and Yu Bao, the sons of two powerful officials, Fei Zhong and Yu Han, brought a group of friends to Happy Forest for dinner, but they were unwilling to line up, but the waiter was not accommodating, so they started to quarrel. Soon, shopkeeper Zhu from Happy Forest walked out. He clasped his fists at Fei Ji and Yu Bao with a calm look and said, "Please understand, gentlemen, that our restaurant is indeed full and there is no room." Fei Ji looked sallow and thin, with frivolous eyes and a look of excessive indulgence. He said impatiently, "Don't talk nonsense to me. If you keep blabbering, believe it or not, I will have your restaurant smashed down right away." The servants behind him immediately rolled up their arms and sleeves, revealing muscles as knotted as dragons, exuding a strong blood evil aura. The practice of cultivation in the world of gods is prosperous, and almost all the servants of the aristocratic families have practiced martial arts. Fei Ji and Yu Bao's servants were the servants of the superior doctor, and they were martial arts experts who could fight 1 against 10. More than a dozen martial arts masters exuded the blood evil aura at the same time, and the evil spirits had to retreat, and the ferocious beasts had to flee in confusion. However, shopkeeper Zhu remained calm as usual, still shaking his head and saying, "Even if a few young men smashed up the restaurant, we wouldn't have a place." The attitude was neither humble nor arrogant, and he did not show any flattery because Fei Ji and Yu Bao were the sons of powerful officials in the dynasty. The onlookers secretly admired them. This shopkeeper is very generous and principled. I don't even give him the honor of being a doctor. I admire you. Being so stubborn, I'm afraid of causing trouble. Sure enough, shopkeeper Zhu's calm attitude immediately completely angered Fei Ji and Yu Bao. "Damn, are you challenging me? Do you really think we dare not smash it? Okay, wait until I have someone smash up your store and see if you can still be so tough." With that said, they were about to order their men to destroy the store. Seeing this situation, more than 20 waiters in Happy Forest gathered around and stared at Fei Ji and his party with eager eyes. "Hee, you bunch of untouchables, how dare you attack me?" Fei Ji pointed at the waiter at Happy Forest and said with a contemptuous smile, "The mantis is acting like a chariot, and he is underestimating his own abilities." Yu Bao also sneered. When Sang Xiao saw Fei Ji and Yu Bao's overbearing and arrogant behavior, he immediately looked angry. These two people are so unreasonable. That is, the shopkeeper said there are no extra vacancies, why are they still unwilling to give up? Compared with Sang Xiao's anger, Li Yuan behaved like a passerby watching the excitement, not worried at all that his restaurant would be smashed. Instead, he smiled heartlessly and said, "Haha, yes, the fight is finally about to begin." Sang Xiao was speechless when she saw Li Yuan watching the fun and not taking it too seriously. They didn't know that this restaurant actually belonged to Li Yuan, otherwise they would have been even more speechless. Just as the two sides drew their swords and crossed their crossbows, shopkeeper Zuzu suddenly seeing Li Yuan in the crowd, he immediately changed his calm expression, immediately left Fei Ji and Yu Bao behind, and greeted him with enthusiasm. "Young master, you are here. Please come upstairs quickly. What would you like to eat today?" Fei Ji. Yu Bao. 3 knights. Onlookers. Everyone was immediately dumbfounded by shopkeeper Zhu's inconsistent attitude. Damn, the shopkeeper's attitude changed too quickly, didn't he? What about the agreed upon principles? Shopkeeper, you have lost your integrity. In addition to complaining about the shopkeeper's integrity, everyone is also speculating on Li Yuan's identity. The shopkeeper didn't even give Fei Zhong and Yu Han face, but he was so respectful to this young master. Could it be that this young master was a relative of the emperor? I haven't heard of any royal relative who has the same image as him. Look at the carriage he is sitting in. Even if he is not a relative of the emperor, he is from a wealthy family. How can a wealthy man compare with the official authority of a doctor? After Fei Ji and Yu Bao recovered from their dumbfounded eyes, their faces turned red with anger and their breathing was as rapid as a bellows. The two furiously pointed at the shopkeeper and roared. "Damn, didn't I say there was no place? Why can he eat directly? Are you deliberately trying to humiliate us?" "I wish," the shopkeeper calmly said. "Mr. Li is our most distinguished guest at Happy Forest, so he doesn't have to queue up." "Aren't you unable to make reservations at Happy Forest?" someone asked. Shopkeeper Zhu. "That's right, no one else can make a reservation, except Mr. Li." Seeing that shopkeeper Zhu took it for granted, everyone was completely speechless. This is simply naked discrimination. Could it be that this is not the emperor? Li Yuan made a helpless expression to Fei Ji and Yu Bao, and he said to Sang Xiao, "Let's go upstairs and watch the excitement. The view is better there." Seeing that Li Yuan still wanted to watch the fun, Sang Xiao couldn't laugh or cry. She felt that Li Yuan was too cynical. As soon as Li Yuan and Sang Xiao walked into the restaurant, they heard Fei Ji shout angrily. "You are not allowed to leave. If you don't give us a satisfactory explanation today, I will let you happily get out of Kaoj. You said you were not allowed to leave, so I won't leave. Aren't I very shameless?" Li Yuan didn't pay attention to Fei Ji's roar. He led Sang Xiao up the stairs without stopping. Whoops! Fei Ji saw that Li Yuan regarded what he said as fart, and immediately turned red with anger. He flew into a rage and ordered to the entourage behind him. "Smash it for me." Fei Ji and Yu Bao's followers were ready to take action after receiving the order. However, just as these followers were about to lift the table and rummage through the cabinets, the waiters from Happy Forest came to meet them. These waiters actually had martial arts skills, and each of them was very strong. Infinity, one person grabbed a follower, easily lifted the follower above his head, and then threw him out of the restaurant and smashed it on the road. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen of the burly and round followers were all thrown onto the road, their bones broken and their skin torn. They were wailing. The onlookers originally thought there would be a fierce battle, but they didn't expect it to end like this. Prehistoric, my mythical Daluo was exposed by my sister Daji. Author, Datang Potatoes. Chapter 10. Chapter 10, The Ancestral Witch works as a waiter and scares the mother-in-law to death. Damn, These waiters are so powerful. No wonder the shopkeeper is so confident. It's too luxurious to have a martial arts master as a waiter, isn't it? Sang Xiao also opened her eyes in surprise. They hadn't noticed before that these waiters actually had martial arts skills. How could Li Yuan not expect someone to make trouble when he opened Happy Forest? Therefore, these guys of his are actually not mortals. Each one of them is a physical master that he fished from the pond. Their fighting power is comparable to that of the ancestral witches, but their vitality and blood are concealed by Li Yuan using special methods. Not to mention a few mere mortals, even saints would be frightened when they came. Fei Ji and Yu Bao were shocked and angry when they saw their servant was thrown on the road and unable to get up. Fei Ji pointed angrily at shopkeeper Zhu and the waiter in the store, and shouted angrily. Okay, you dare to hurt my men, just wait for me, I will go back to find someone to pacify Happy Forest. You are dead, Yu Bao said viciously. After putting down the cruel words, the two of them prepared to go back and bring in reinforcements to regain their face. However, two waiters blocked the way of Fei Ji and Yu Bao. It's not that easy to just leave after causing trouble, I wish, the shopkeeper calmly said. Why, you untouchables, do you still dare to attack me? Fei Ji sneered. If you don't want to confiscate your family and exterminate your clan, just get out of here, Yu Bao yelled angrily. The two of them are not afraid of these waiters at all. Their fathers are the favorites of King Zhou. King Zhou is the posthumous name of Emperor Xian after his death, but for convenience, he is called Emperor Xian King Zhou. They are in high and powerful positions. In addition, it was a slave society at this time, and the nobles had absolute authority. Killing a few untouchable waiters was as easy as killing a few ants, and the government didn't care at all. However, the two waiters' influence on Fei Ji and Yu Bao, the threats were completely indifferent, and they just blocked the way of the two of them indifferently. Fei Ji and Yu Bao became even more angry when they saw this. Shopkeeper Zhu looked at Fei Ji and Yu Bao with contempt, and asked Li Yuan respectfully, Sir, may I ask what to do with these two people? Li Yuan didn't look back and said calmly after beating him to death, just throw him out. You dare? Fei Ji shouted angrily. My father is Fei Zhong, a senior doctor. Which of you dares to touch me? Yu Bao also shouted. If you dare to hurt us even a hair, all of you will have to pay with your lives. However, shopkeeper Zhu winked at the waiter, and the waiter immediately beat Fei Ji and Yu Bao violently. At first, the two were still stiff and threatened to take revenge. But after a while, the two of them he was beaten so hard that he cried out for his father and mother, and begged for mercy again and again. He couldn't stand up anymore. Ouch, I killed someone. Grandpa, stop fighting, we were wrong. In the end, Fei Ji and Yu Bao were beaten into pig heads and their bodies were thrown onto the street like paralyzed mud. The onlookers were already stunned. Looking at Fei Ji and Yu Bao, who were beaten so badly that even their mother could not recognize them, everyone felt chills running down their spines. How cruel he is. I didn't expect that Happy Forest would even dare to fight Fei Zhong and Yu Han's young masters. In history, no restaurant dares to be so arrogant. However, if Fei Zhong and Yu Han are offended, Happy Forest may not be able to continue operating. Why is the shopkeeper so respectful to you? After entering the private room on the third floor, Qiang Xiao immediately asked Li Yuan impatiently. Yun Xiao and Bai Xiao also looked at Li Yuan with curious faces. Li Yuan put the birdcage aside and said lightly. Because I own this Happy Forest store. Did you drive it? Sang Xiao suddenly realized. No wonder we don't have to line up and the shopkeeper is so respectful to you. Li Yuan didn't take these two little characters, Fei Ji and Yu Bao, to heart at all. He opened this store mainly to satisfy himself, so he didn't care about whether these customers were satisfied or not. He ordered the waiter beside him. Today we are having hot pot, including fat beef, tripe, yellow throat, duck intestines, spicy beef, mutton rolls, beef louvers, potatoes, lotus root slices, give me 4 portions of each dish. Coca-Cola and drinks are also available. Okay, young master, I'll go and let the kitchen prepare it. Li Yuan showed off to Sang Xiao. You are in for a treat. This hot pot is a new way of eating that I just invented. Daji has not tried it yet. I have been fasting for 3 nights for many years. Except for the occasional spiritual fruit and fairy peach, I have long stopped eating whole grains. In addition, in this day and age, everyone's cooking methods are either boiled or roasted, and there is only one condiment, salt. Meat can't even cover up the fishy smell. The taste of food made in this way can be imagined. Therefore, Sang Xiao is not really looking forward to hot pot. The reason why they came is just to spend more time with Li Yu, and they got along for a while. However, they were still a little surprised when they heard that hot pot was invented by Li Yuan. Are you still working on recipes? Sure enough, he is not doing his job properly, Kaiang Xiao joked. Li Yuan, as the saying goes, eating and drinking are the 2 most important things in life. In my opinion, eating is the only true occupation of a person. Making food and enjoying food are also the greatest enjoyment. Big Xiao said this is what ordinary people think. After practicing, you don't need to eat. Li Yuan shook his head and said, in a life without delicious food, what's the point of cultivating yourself to a higher level? Eating all the delicious food is one of my life goals. Haha, your life goals are too small. After living for such a long time, I have never felt that any food can be regarded as gourmet. While talking, the waiter brought the bottom of the pot and densely packed dishes. Smelling the spicy red oil and looking at the exquisite dishes, even if you don't eat the fireworks for 3 nights, you can't help but feel your eyes light up. These dishes look beautiful, Kaiang Xiao sighed. All the dishes are arranged according to the art of later generations, and they are indeed pleasing to the eye. Vision is also a kind of food. A beautiful arrangement can make people enjoy the food better. Li Yuan gave 3 cooking oil dishes all night, he introduced. This is a Mandarin duck pot. The white soup is not spicy, and the red soup is spicy. When eating, you put the vegetables you want to eat into the soup and scald them first, then put them into the oil dish and dip them in. Then you can eat. So complicated, Big Xiao sighed with emotion. In fact, hot pot is the simplest delicacy, Li Yuan. The hot pot is heated with fine kunshan charcoal. It has no smoke, no open flame, and a long-lasting burning. Soon, the soup base in the hot pot is boiling. Under Li Yuan's demonstration, Sang Xiao picked up a thin slice, put the fat beef like rice paper into the bottom of the pot. Okay, you only need to scald it for 5 seconds. If you scald it for a long time, the meat will become old. Li Yuan reminded. After Sang Xiao heard this, he quickly put the curled fat beef into the oil dish, dipped it in, and took a small taste.